History in Motion is proudly brought to you by Midas Sport and its associate sponsors. Welcome to Kyalami for the Hitachi Race Day and Round 4 of the Midas Historic Tour. With over 200 cars entered on the day, the stage is set for some fantastic racing on what could be the last event at this iconic track. We have a closer look at the undulations of Kyalami with an onboard lap of the track.
Hi everybody, this is Thomas Faulkner and you're riding on board the Sunday Times Castrol Ford Mustang. So, lap round Kyalami, we just go past the start-finish line. Slight dab on the brakes here through the first corner just to steady the car. Again here, onto the brakes just a little bit to steady it. And we're going up towards Nashua, this is flat out in fourth. Dab on the brakes, change into third. And into Nashua, and then it's gently onto the throttle again, too much and then the wheel spin and drift, which we don't want because it slows you down. And we're now flying down towards Sunset. This is a really good part of the circuit, really quick, hard on the brakes, turn it in, just feather the throttle a little bit, then get back hard onto the throttle, use that torque in fourth gear, and diving into Clubhouse. Dab on the brakes, third gear, and then we're flat out all the way, using all the revs in third gear. Dab on the brakes, turn it in, and then you get caught behind looks like a Ford Escort or something, slicks. But I've got the power, so just get the hammer down, third gear, change into fourth, and up we go. It's also a fantastic part of the circuit. Up into West Bank, great elevation changes. From fourth down into second gear, drive it out. And this is probably the quickest part of the circuit, going down the mine shaft. Epic part of Kyalami. Dab up on the brakes just to steady the car, turn it in, keep to the far left hand side, flat out. There's the brake marker, blip it into third. Come out of Sunset, into the bowl. And here we are again, flat out, flat out, flat out. Dab on the brakes, steady it in, turn it in. And again, flat out in third gear, hard on the brakes. Diving on the inside, second gear, gently feel on the power, flat out. Now it's flat out all the way down back to the first corner. And that is a lap in the Sunday Times Mustang at Kyalami.
We kick off a chilly winter's day's racing with the Sibylla Mark cars. A lucky 13 cars will line up to take the starters' orders in race 1. First, we catch up with rookie driver Bert van Aal, who gives us some background on his car.
It's a 1972 1600 GT Capri. It was originally bought as a restoration project. Parts were becoming a problem to get hold of, so I decided to do a 3/4 restoration and convert it into a Mark racing car. Still running the fairly standard 1600 GT motor.
Well, it's a car that I bought a few years ago and did some improvements, just basically stronger, tougher suspension, so it's more suitable for track racing, but it's basically a stock standard Porsche. It's got a free flow exhaust and that's about it. And I'm just having great fun 40 years after I raced the little Leyland Mini back in the 70s. It's a very different car. It was always my dream to race a Porsche, and now I've realized that dream.
Let's hope some more dreams can come true today as the field lines up to take to the start. Bert van Aal will lead the field out in this handicapped Mark car race as he was the slowest car in qualifying. Steve Neofitu in the Cheese for Africa Mini will be hot on his heels and will head out 3 seconds behind van Aal. Kobus Brits waits patiently on the grid as the slower cars head off. In front of him, 2 great rivals and friends, Stuart Grant and Colin Keane, in their Carcol Executive Auto Mercedes-Benz 280Es will head off at the same time. A lockup for Cam McKee-Thompson in his Porsche as he heads into the bowl. Colin Keane is hot on his heels and beginning to put the pressure on. while Stuart Grant has just passed Barry Scott in the baby blue dart-to-dart Ford Escort. Les McLeod and his MGB Roadsters coming under increasing pressure from Paul Manigault in the red and yellow Alfa Romeo Giulia as they round the final bend and head on to the start-finish straight. Side by side, they head down the back straight. Martin van der Merwe in the Van Clan Services MGB GT and Yorick Smith in his MG Youth Program MGA. It is MG Power at the front of the Marcar field as they head out of Sunset and into Clubhouse. With such close racing, this often leads to the drivers pushing really hard for track position, and the chance of exceeding their qualifying breakout time is very much a reality. Yorick Smith loses the back coming into the bowl as he is pushing hard to try to catch van der Merwe. This would not have helped his cause though. Ray Corneliussen in his Alfa Romeo GTB slows down exiting Clubhouse and pulls to the side of the track before the S's. Not the kind of start he was expecting. Stuart Grant making his way up through the field, passes Paul Manigault and lines up Cam McKee-Thompson as they exit Westbank and head down the mine shaft. Into the bowl, and Grant has got the position. He really is pushing the Mercedes hard. Grant loses the back and does some farming, and this results in some major tank slapping as he rejoins the track. Amazingly, he still holds the position. This is Martin van der Merwe's first ever outing at Kyalami, and with a performance like this, I am sure he'll be hoping it's not his only one. Great driving here from the Kyalami newbie, and it's great to have the historic cars racing at the track, which has been a part of South African motor racing history since 1961. The leaders make their way down the hill to the final bend to complete another lap. Paul Manigault is powering his way through the field in his Indy Oil-sponsored Alfa as he sails past Bert van Aal in his Ford Capri, who had been having a great run towards the front of the field, but the faster cars are starting to catch him up. Paul Manigault has been racing for 5 years and has had this wonderful Alfa Romeo Giulia for the past 3 years. In the space of his relatively short career, Manigault has won the Marcar Championship twice, in 2012 and 2013, and I'm sure he'll be hoping to make it a hat-trick this year. Back to the leaders, and Martin van der Merwe looks to be managing his lead over Yorick Smith quite well. This doesn't by any stretch mean that Smith in the MG Youth Club MGA has given up. He is still pushing hard. As they come into the last few corners of the track though, it will not be enough. The Van Clan Services MGB GT driven by Martin van der Merwe has done enough and will take the checkered flag. Unfortunately, as the battle was so fierce between the two, they have both broken out of their allocated time and are disqualified. Third on the track was Colin Keane, who managed to find some extra speed from qualifying, and this resulted in him also being disqualified. Great news for Stuart Grant, who takes the win with some fine driving, narrowly staying within his time. Let's hear from the race winner.
It was brilliant. I think the qualifying was a bit up and down because of the cold temperatures, so no one really knew what time to nominate, and I think I just got lucky. There was no maths. I didn't work it out, just consistent, and it worked out.
Race 2 of the Sabella Marcars gets underway, and Colin Keane sets off in his Cargill Mercedes as Bert van Aal comes past to complete his first lap in the Ford Capri 1600. A big moment here for Stuart Grant as he spins out going into turn 3. He quickly gets going again and rejoins the race. Youngster Yorick Smith leads this gaggle of cars with Paul Manigault chasing hard behind him. Stuart Grant has recovered well from his spin and for the moment is ahead of Colin Keane's Mercedes. Cobus Brits, having started at the back of the field, is steadily picking off his opposition. We We go on board with the BP Porsche 911R now as Brits chases down the Mercedes of Keane. With the power down, he accelerates past Colin Keane and Stuart Grant as well as they head into sunset. Great exciting racing as always in Mark cars. Into the bowl and Brits has caught and passed Paul Manigault. Behind them, Colin Keane has found his way past Stuart Grant, and the battle between the two Mercedes continues. Grant is really pushing hard, determined not to let Keane get away. Bert van Aert is being hotly pursued by Barry Scott in the car he built with his wife Michelle last year, specifically for Mark cars. On board now with Scott and heading up to West Bank, he makes his move and passes Van Aert. Behind them, Cobus Brits has just passed the Porsche of Cam McKee-Thompson. Looking for a way past Van Aert, Brits takes the inside line and gently urges Van Aert out wide. McKee-Thompson follows Brits through as they exit West Bank and head down the steeply plunging mineshaft. Arguably one of the most intimidating drops in world motorsport, next to the infamous corkscrew of Laguna Seca. Exiting the mineshaft for the final time, and Brits has the escort of Scott firmly in his sights. Scott is doing his utmost to keep his position, but the might of the Porsche is no match for the Ford Escort as Brits makes his move down the inside of turn 13. Behind the lead pair, Cam McKee-Thompson, Bert van Aert and Les McLeod, who is having a great drive in his white MGB Roadster. But it's Cobus Brits who's had a fantastic drive from the back of the field to take the victory in his BP Porsche 911R ahead of Barry Scott in his Ford Escort RS. Confirmation of the results then, and although he was third on the road, Cam McKee-Thompson broke out and was disqualified, as were Van Aert and Smith. Les McLeod had a fantastic race to finish third. Colin Keane won the Battle of the Mercs, and another great result for Andre Reneker in seventh. Great shots on the podium with the victors showing off their trophies.
We had lots of fun. Stuart was ahead of me in the second race, and yeah, he came hard. When I wanted to try and get past him. And then one of his tires started to wear off and got a bit lucky there.
I think I'll get given the second-hand tires or something because they always seem to go the front right.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah. And his old ones. So. But it was fun. I think we had a little touch, which is unfortunate, on my brand new wing. But I think it was my fault.
It was a good lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was tough. Barry Scott and Stuart Grant made it tough and Paul, but it was lekker.
We look forward to some great racing from the Lotus Challenge after the break.